Project 95. Boys. Boys. We're back. And it's December 8th, 1995. Just a 2-hour 2-hour jaunt around Lake Erie for us from Western New York area. And I I have a couple things I forgot. I know yesterday's video was a long one. I feel like they're getting longer. I don't want to do that, but there's just so much stuff. If you noticed in my notes, in the initial post at the top of set 2, it says, Nikki is a yellow belt. And I was racking my brain trying to understand what that reference was. And I remembered. It was one of my pet peeves about just concerts in general, but I've seen it at Phish more than once. And much like Vespucci just kind of like found us and hung out with us. When you're on the rail and holding the rail, there's just this cyclone of people around you at all times, basically, because everybody, or not everybody, but tons of people are just trying to get to the rail. So they've been fighting through the crowds and dancers and all this other stuff, and they finally get up there because someone goes to the back, whatever it is. And this, I remember now, this girl, Nikki, got up there and she was just running it about who the fuck knows what, but mentioned like part of her spiel was that she had a yellow belt. And I was, my brother was on my right, and like this is where this whole area was where just people kept, there was a lot of turnover. And it was Vespucci for a while, then he left, and this girl, Nikki, this is all I know about her, that she had finally made it to the rail and how awesome it was going to be. And then proceeded to ask if I would help her get up onto the stage. Like, give her a boost, distract the security guys, whatever it was. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do. Why? Like, I remember we had this whole back and forth about her. She finally made it to the rail, and her goal upon making it to the rail was to jump up onto the stage. I go, what are you gonna do when you get up there? What happens should you successfully get on the stage? And she goes, I just want to hug him. I'm like, you just want to hug them? That's it? Like, that's so dumb. Do you think they want to be hugged at work when they're like playing, when they're doing this thing that they love the most? Do you think they want some rando to jump up on stage? So they go, hang on, let me hug this psychopath. Let me hug her. And why do you think that's just going to happen once you get up there? That they'll be like, oh my God, yes, open arms. It's like the whole killing baby, or going back in time to kill Hitler. Like, you could just walk up Yeah, like you could just do that because you went back in time, right? And everyone would be like, "Oh, you here to kill Hitler? All right, cool. It's right this way." Um, that so I forgot the I had forgotten that note, and then I saw it today when I was going through, and it took me about an hour of just like, why would I write this? I didn't know one Nikki, like whatever it was. So so there's that. Um, but this Cleveland show is one of those, like, here's another uh, sports connection, sports reference. This was a trap show, or a trap game, as it's called, where like you're coming off a really big show, like Niagara Falls. It's easy to head out to Cleveland and just phone it in for a night, because we just did this really awesome one. And I wouldn't say they did that, but it just, from the fans' perspective, it's tough too, right? Because you're coming off this huge high that last night was just all around, and now you're kind of comparing it to that. It's got to kind of live up to that. Like the bar keeps, raising gradually, and you're constantly evaluating, shows against each other. It's almost impossible not to do. This night was memorable. I think the most memorable thing was the trip there, the car ride. I can't confirm this. Hopefully, some other jam boys will corroborate and we can piece this together. But I want to say 6 of us went in 2 cars, and one car was Roman's driving, me shotgun, and Sonny in the back. The other car was Baudo driving, Phil shotgun, Mark Johnson in the back. And that's my memory. Or some combination of those 6 in 2 different cars. I was in Roman's car. Roman's had a Saturn. Remember when Saturns were hot? Yeah, it was 1995. Roman's had a green Saturn, 4-door, and I was just happy to not be driving, number one. But we drove to Cleveland, and most of the way there, we had a discussion about the future of automobiles. And Romans and I fell very quickly into our assumed roles. If you don't know this about us, we are comedic foils for each other. In other words, I'm stupid, and he's logical. So I'm what's the word? I'm stupid, clearly. No. I have a tendency to just be silly for silly's sake, and to say something stupid until someone checks me. And Romans has always been the one who checks me. Like, that won't work. That's dumb. or providing, the logical sort of counter argument to my sort of comical hyperbolic statement, whatever it is. I guess it's a long way of saying Romans is a straight man, and I'm the goofball. Anyway, I don't know why we got talking about cars, but I was coming up with this concept for a car of the future, on the fly, basically. What in Romans, just asking questions. Well, how does it drive? Like, what propels the car? I'm like, air. It's called the air car. Oh, air? How does that work? Right? Like, just leading me down a path of my own destruction, basically. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just air. Like, why not? We're in the air. It moves, stupid things. And then somehow the back and forth got us to this point where it was like the air car was like Wonder Woman's jet. It was clear, and it had no structure. It was air, but you could get in it, and the air sort of, you filled it with air and you propelled it. I mean, none of it makes any sense, but it was a good hour's worth of the 2-hour drive was us back and forth, me making something up about this car that doesn't exist and never will and is impossible, and Romans just deadpan explaining why it won't work, and then giving me some more rope with which to hang myself, trying to get me further and further into this stupid story. And this is a pattern, and it's a bit. That's basically what it is. And we do this bit, could be about any number of things, but that's how the bit works. And if I remember, whoever was with us in the back seat was not happy about it. But I feel like I brought up the air car to Romans like maybe a year ago or something. I'm like, hey, remember the air car? And he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, I think we're almost there, right? Because self-driving, right? And e-cars, like, right? So we're almost there, guys. That was the ride there. I probably brought it up on the way home too, but it didn't have the legs that it did on the way there. Anyway, Phish played a concert on December 8th, 1995. It was at the Cleveland State University Convocation Center. Cleveland State. I keep having these college basketball tie-ins, but I remember Mouse McFadden was a March Madness star at Cleveland State one year, probably around this time. And it's a show. I mean, I started looking ahead because we talked about the mid first set Slave from last night. Here you got a mid first set Runaway Fluffhead, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Jim is typically an opener, a 1-2 hole guy. So to have it 4 and then go into Fluffhead, and if you look, 3-point. It's a 3-point Runaway and a 2-point Fluffhead on the X point system. So that's impressive. So to have those songs mid first set seems like a conscious decision. With that Slave, I'm gonna go back even more. I guess I didn't really do that at Mullins Center. But looking forward, in Albany, they did not do it either. So I guess it's not really a trend. But that's what I got thinking about. I did It's Ice. I love It's Ice. I wish there's so many like Phish things that they used to do during It's Ice that they don't do anymore, and I wish they did. Again, it's like at some point in the band's development, they're like, all right, enough of the gimmicks, right? So Fishman songs kind of went away. The vacuum is rare now. They did away with, the only thing that kind of lasted was the tramp. They did away with the mics, trampolines. But in It's Ice, they used to have, they bring out those. You remember in the 90s, it was like the Nordic track, right? But they had, there was like an ice skate one. So it was like this little pad, like silicone pad, and you put on these socks basically over your shoes, and you would just slide back and forth. They used to bring those out during It's Ice, and Phish and Mike would skate a little bit. And then during the Fishman used to get up on his stool and do a little this. He definitely did that this night, but the skates were gone. That was an early 90s thing. I think I saw that like once. But I always think about that with It's Ice. That's one of the things just lost to maturity, I guess. So yeah, that, I mean, the Simple, they played Simple, and 94 Simple was so big. They did a lot of Mike Simple, blah blah blah, Weekapog. And Roman's asked, where's Down with Disease been this tour? And I just feel like Simple is one of those too. That's like, well, where's Simple been? Again, Simple wasn't what it is now. But they did that tonight. Simple, Runaway, Fluffhead, Ice is a nice sequence. Really nice sequence. You get to the second set, and right off the bat, if you look at my notes there, East Coast has no screamers. Now that was a commentary on probably, I don't know why I wrote it there. Probably Acoustic Army. That was the implication, was that on the East Coast, we're real Phish fans, and we know that when they get quiet, right, you don't scream, you listen. But as opposed to out west or in the Midwest, when they got quiet, you'd hear everybody scream. So I was sort of projecting that. I believe in a couple nights you'll see an addendum to that. To that statement, which I will be sure to point out. So anyways, nobody screamed during that. But the second set, I kind of forgot about it. Like, not that. The 2001 Tweezer Kung Tweezer is fun. Like, just a really potent opening salvo from the boys. And then you get a Honey Love, right? Like, this is what Phish is about, right? Giving you this beefcake tweezer and then giving you the silliness with a Fishman song. Then Coil Tweezer Reprise, not in the closer spot, not in the encore spot. They continue. They drop an Antelope after that. Again, these 95 set constructions are just interesting artifacts to gaze upon. The biggie was Come Together, the encore. I believe it was the anniversary of John Lennon's death. I think that's why they played it. And then Day in the Life, because Beatles. So, you know, that kind of worked out, that they had been playing that every other night this tour. And then they threw in that Come Together, which was, I mean, it was one of those that we talked about before. It was cooler that they were playing it than it actually sounded, if that makes any sense. It does. It makes sense, trust me. I have a Brady Bunch theme tease at the end of Antelope. Brady Bunch. How's Brady Bunch go? Here's a story of a lovely lady who was living with 3 very ugly girls. No? Ugly? All of them had hair of gold, like their mother. The youngest one in curls. Her name is Cindy. Here's the story of a man named Brady who was bring 3 ugly boys of his own. They were something and no, they living, but they were all alone. Then the one day when the lady met this fellow, and they knew it was much more than a hunch. Somehow they formed a family. That's the way they all became the Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch, man. Whatever. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that and see if it's there or if I was just insane. Anyway, 12/8, 95, Cleveland. Fun show. Just a nice show. Packed a wallop. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, 12/9, in Albany, back when it was still called the Knickerbocker Arena. And that was a doozy. So I'll see you then.